Hello and welcome to BeamNG Drive. I'm davidinark. We're back here on the Crash Hard Cliff Diving Competition. This time we've got the D series in action, the D15 Off-Road. Taking a look at that, actually sitting in about third place, taking the first jump. The Beast handling the jumps with no problem at all. As we shift our focus over to the Pig, who, takes a very hard landing, ends up on its side. That is a very, very early out for the Pig. In the meantime, the Drag Edition just leading out in front of everyone. The Disappointment ends up stopping right on the edge and just can't get enough momentum to keep going. The Disappointment, well, is a disappointment. It is out of the running. In the meantime, the Beast having a bit of trouble losing some control. However, gets control but can't quite get enough speed to get over that particular jump there. And as it turns out, moments ago, the Drag Edition flying across the track ends up on its front corner but regains control just in time to lose control, sending it flying off of the cliff. That will be the end of the Drag Edition here in the Crash Hard Cliff Diving Competition. That just leaves the D15 Off-Road all by itself on the track. It has no competition, and as a matter of fact, it has already made it to the final approach. As it rolls over, loses control, it is off the track. That is going to be the end of the line. Nope, wait a minute. It looks like the Off-Road is trying to get back on track, struggling, barely moving. You can see the Pigeon off in the distance. That is the finish line. This vehicle so close. It's trying real hard to figure out how to get itself positioned to head toward the finish line, and it looks like it is lining itself up very well. Oh, the back end slides out. However, regains control and, ladies and gentlemen, approaches the finish line, and there it is, the D15 Off-Road smacking the Pigeon in the side of the head for good measure. The D15 Off-Road becomes the third vehicle to make it to the finals. Let's take a look at the individual trials. That is unbelievable. The Drag Edition just, gets an awesome lead out in front of everyone. The back end sliding around a little bit, but looks like the driver is able to maintain control. Looks like the bed cover is, I don't know, maybe providing some lift or something. I have no idea. Or maybe that's a downdraft. I don't know. Either way, or downforce. Either way, it is doing quite well, way out in front of everybody else behind it, as it quickly approaches the peak here on the Crash Hard Cliff Diving track. This is the highest point in the track. We're on the track, and at this point here, everything is downhill. And speaking of downhill, it gets a bad break right there, tearing up that passenger right side of the vehicle, flipping, losing control off of the edge of the track there, down the cliff, and there is no recovering for the Drag Edition. In the meantime, the Beast gets a nice start and is actually in second place, taking a pretty hard hit there and starting to lose some ground to the Off-Road, and there it is. It's now in third. However, it is doing quite well. Just like the Drag, though, that back end sure wants to bounce around a whole bunch, and that is definitely going to present problems for the driver. However, so far, the Beast living up to its name, just taking on this track. Oh, a little bit of a jostle there, ends up on its front left wheel. Oh, and that is, that's where it kind of loses. Again, that back end just wants to get away from it, and at that point, it does not have enough speed to carry it over the crevice there, and so it falls down into the gap, and that is the end of the line for the Beast. Now, the disappointment, well, unfortunately, slams on its brakes at the very beginning. However, it is able to take that first jump with no problem, and it approaches the second jump. It takes it down with no problem, as we see the pig absolutely lose it there behind. However, the disappointment making the landing, but again, that back end slides out. Now, it does manage to stop itself before falling over the edge, but does not back up enough to give itself enough clearance in order to be able to jump, to make that landing. You got to wonder what the driver was thinking there, and I think at this point trying to figure out if it can actually get out of that hole there, but that's just no doing. Shifting our focus now to the pig. Let's check out what the pig does. It lands hard off that first one, but actually its suspension does a great job of being able to take over. Did it slow down there? I don't know. Either way, it hits the landing zone very hard on that second jump, ends up on its side. As you can see, though, the driver trying to use the trick that a lot of the off-road vehicles attempt, and that is to use the power of all of the wheels turning and those off-road knobby tires to see if it can right itself. The driver rotating that steering wheel back and forth, trying to spin the vehicle up on all fours. However, it ends up putting itself in the ditch, and now it is completely stuck and it cannot go anywhere. The pig, unfortunately, ends up out of the running here on the cliff diving competition. The D15 off-road gets a decent start and handles that first jump with no problem. The second jump, a piece of cake. In fact, this thing is just rolling quite along there. What I'm trying to say, passing by the beast. Of course, the dragster is way ahead. The dragster is frankly just way ahead of everybody at this point. However, this off-road, the suspension in the off-road truck is just absolutely absorbing these jumps as if they were nothing. The landings are no problem at all. Clears that jump there. Oh, loses the spare tire. However, we're not going to worry about that. We could all stand to lose a little spare tire, I think. Maybe not all, but many of us. Anyhow, approaching the peak as it grabs some air and, does a great TV stunt landing off of that jump. And we can see why the D15 off-road ends up making it to the end, because it is doing absolutely fantastically here on these jumps. That one was just a minor inconvenience as it flies along, heading toward that last approach, as that is quickly coming upon it right here. This is the final approach, but ends up just bouncing from side to side, rolling over several times. However, because it ended up landing upright, and because frankly this off-road vehicle it's the beast. I know the other one is called the Beast, but this bad boy right here is the beast of the day. Slowly makes its way back up onto the track. At this point, not quite sure what the driver is thinking in terms of getting to the finish line, although after that tumble, probably just trying to figure out where it is and get its bearings in general, but manages to point its nose toward the finish line, but the back end spins out a little bit. It gets everything all straightened up, heads to the finish line, does a quick smack to the side of the pigeon for good measure to say, hey, I'm here. I qualify. Thank you very much. So there you go. The D15 now joins the ranks of the H Series and the Blue Buck as the three vehicles so far to continue on to the championship round, to the final round anyway. That is awesome for that D series. Hey, got any questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories? Feel free to leave those down in the comments section below. Special thanks to Hero of God, GamerGull, and Mr. Spooky7 for supporting me on Patreon. You can check that out, patreon.com/davidinark. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on BeamNG Drive. Have a great day.